bricks and minifigs, y'all niggas are fucking. Y'all gonna get what's coming to you. Alright? Now that I'm involved, shit ain't gonna be the same, my nigga. Part 2, the Lego Scandal Company response is horrible. I don't know how they even responded. I don't know what they're possibly gonna do. Like, nigga, you literally lost your store. Like, you're done for, bro. No cap, no rap cap. I took the top off. I'm dripping like hot sauce. I need this cream up. So let's see.
Earlier today covering the Lego scandal. If you haven't watched that video, nothing I'm going to talk about makes sense here. It's going to be all mumbo jumbo.
See, this is where I first started off in the last video. Tonight, I didn't want to, feel me? I need the context. I need the context. Now we have the context, now we can watch this video.
It's going to sound like that episode of Rugrats where Spike was hearing Tommy Pickles' parents talk and it was just all... So, if you don't know anything about the Lego scandal, you can either watch the video from earlier today, watch Reckless Bin's video, which is where it all stems from, a thorough investigation through a unbelievably deep rabbit hole of corruption, depravity, and just absurdity all around Legos. In a nutshell, I guess I'll give you like the synopsis. A man named Brian took his father's Lego collection to a corporation called Bricks and Minifigs, which is a huge business in the Lego community, and he was selling the collection to them. The way that that's structured is they take the collection, they sell it, and he gets money for it. They had a contract in place with this location. It's an extremely valuable Lego collection, roughly around 200,000 clams worth, and Brian's father is not in the best of health, so this money was actually going to be used for very important things. And to fast forward, basically, he never received any kind of payment for it, but they did take all of the Legos. They had his whole inventory and were actively promoting it, marketing it, and seemingly selling it without ever having followed through on the terms of that agreement that they had with Brian. And in the contract, it is explicitly stated that he still owns the Legos. He never relinquished ownership of the Legos or anything, so he was still entitled.
What'd you say about relinquished ownership? Relinquish ownership?
To those products that he brought them, should he request them back, presumably. And he did. He asked for them back, they kept refusing. He eventually got trespassed, apparently. Then Reckless Bin got on the case to try and get the Legos back. They refused, and it was a tooth and nail battle the whole way, and as far as we know, the public right now, it is still unresolved. They still have his Legos being fucking held hostage like it's some kind of ISIS terrorist negotiation, and he is not getting them back and has still not received payment for anything that they had sold from his collection, presumably. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. We've only got one fingernail on the titty and haven't even begun to suckle the milk out from the bosom. It is so deep and so ridiculous. I highly recommend you check out Reckless Bin's video covering it. But I want to give you a follow-up here because they did respond to his video. I only just now learned this. And Reckless Bin made a video covering their response. And there's a couple things that I want to talk about because I think it's an absolute load of fucking horseradish that they're trying to pull here with what they're claiming in a couple of instances.
When a complex
Yo, if you eat horseradish, you're untrustworthy.
business dispute is reduced to edited social media clips, critical facts are often lost. While we will not litigate this online, which they are currently doing, we want to clarify the core situation.
Okay, so I see what they're saying. So right now they're saying this is all a big misunderstanding. Ben has edited these clips to make us look bad, but we're not really bad. Now, for the rest of this article, we're going to share our side that Ben left out, is what I'm assuming they're saying here, right?
That is exactly what they're saying, and this sounds like the quintessential PR speak, boilerplate, template shit, nothing sincere, nothing genuine. just a desperate attempt from a PR firm to try and save face for their client here, Bricks and Minifigs. And there is just the standard jargon here. They are doing this because right now they are in hot water. They've got their nuts dipped in the candle wax right now and it's starting to burn. Everyone is shooting spitballs at them. Everyone's
Starting to burn. Nigga. You dip your nuts in candle wax for 0.3 seconds, that shit gonna burn, buddy.
on the top turnbuckle, throwing tomatoes, screeching boo for good reason. Because they look like huge assholes here, and from all available
They are.
evidence, they are in the wrong. And they are refusing, outright refusing. There are tons and tons of recorded phone calls and interactions with the top brass of Bricks and Minifig, just outright denying, lying, and refusing to give him his Legos back, even though from all available evidence with all of the footage as well as the contract, it seems like Brian is legally within his right to ask for it back, and they should have to oblige. They did not pay him for that collection that they have in their inventory, that they have been marketing and pushing and presumably selling, and they never gave him any piece of the pie. And in that contract, it is explicitly stated, it is still his collection, it is still his Legos. So I don't know what authority they think they have for that, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so maybe it is more nuanced, though I don't really see how it could be. It, to me, feels like a pretty slam dunk case of a corporation butt fucking the little guy, just because they have more money, which is something they made very clear. If you do try and sue us, we are going to drag this out, and you are going to lose more money in these legal fees over the course of years than you would have ever gotten from us for this collection. They have said that to him. There is even a recorded phone call about that very thing, fundamentally. Like, it is, they are not being shy about being assholes. So this right here just reads as just standard PR speak of, oh, this isn't what we're about. We would never exploit anyone, especially not geezers, especially not octogenarians. No, we love the elderly fossils, guys. We would never exploit them. Unless? I don't know. It just, to me, smells stinky. It just feels really fake and forced. And they don't even really give a good defense. So this is supposed to be their side of things, but they don't actually explain it well. And what they do try and use as, like, their ace in the hole, I think falls very flat.
Let's see their side. So it says, the reality of the consignment claim. Much of the online narrative centers around a private consignment arrangement allegedly made by a former Salem store. It is vital to understand that Bricks and Minifigs Corporate was not a party to this alleged agreement, nor were subsequent franchises who took the ownership of the Salem location after the former owners were removed.
They're trying to finesse. Much of online narrative centers on private consignment arrangement allegedly made at the former Salem store. It is vital to understand that Bricks and Minifigs Corporate was not a party to this alleged agreement, nor were the subsequent franchises who took on the ownership of the Salem location after the former owners were removed.
So Bricks and Minifigs does have a point here. The previous owner,
I ain't gonna lie, these niggas are slime balls.
according to Bricks and Minifigs franchise agreement, they're not supposed to do consignments. They're supposed to buy the Legos and then sell them. So I think the old owner broke the rules.
And that's a very fair point. So a big portion...
Oh my god. They're really doing this, bro. Like, why, bro? Why go through all this, though? Like, why not just give him his shit back?
of this revolves around that consignment. So the old owner maybe went against protocol here when she took on board the Lego inventory, and then what happened is she and her husband, they were getting out of the area, and then a new owner was coming in. They basically kicked him to the curb instantly, and there's even video camera footage of her saying, well, what about this inventory? I'm uncomfortable leaving with this inventory that I haven't finished here. And they said, it is on camera, it is on security camera footage. You can hear the guy say that they take on the business, like the business endeavors that are already in place, and even explicitly mentions consignment. He says that they are taking on the consignment. Well, let's just go ahead and assume that he's not representative of the whole company and can't make that call on his own. He can't go up there and just fucking hit a dinger himself and say, you know what, we will take the consignment. If they don't do consignment, then what legal leg do they have to stand on to continue to hoard this inventory from Brian's father. They are actively marketing it, so I imagine they have been actively selling it for quite some time, but they never paid for it. And if they don't do consignment, then the contract that was in place should have never existed in the first place. Thus, they shouldn't have that inventory. So, when Brian is requesting that he gets his Legos back from this business, how can they possibly say, no, it's ours to do what we want with now? Eat shit, pussy. How is that allowed? If they don't do consignment and what that guy said is baloney and they can't take on the inventory or do consignment because it's just not part of their company policy, then how do they possibly have the authority to say no to giving him his Legos back? Legos that they shouldn't even have in the first place then. If they don't do consignment, they shouldn't have this inventory. Thus, they should have no problem giving Brian all the Legos back, right? Because otherwise, it seems like they're stealing it. Otherwise, it sounds like the protocol was broken when she took this, but now that she's not here anymore, well, that kind of fizzles, and it's ours forever now. Sorry. That sounds a lot like stealing to me. That just feels highly illegal. Like if I march into a Circle K, assume direct control, kick the franchisee out, and it turns out all the products on my floor actually come from my neighbor, and he had a consignment deal where like the Circle K here sells them and he gets a kickback for it because it's his products, and I take over and I say, not doing that, no consignment here, not part of my policy, but then I continue to sell his products without paying him for it. Am I not just stealing it?
Corporate did not assign, approve, or authorize this arrangement, which is further proof of why they should not have the Legos in the store. If this is something that the brand doesn't do, if Bricks and Minifigs doesn't do consignment deals, then they should just give the Legos back, right? There's no reason for these Legos to be in their store. They didn't pay for them. They're not doing a business deal with Brian anymore, so just give them back. Easy solution. Franchisees operate independent businesses. While they must follow system standards, the franchisor does not automatically inherit responsibility for private, unauthorized agreements a local owner may enter into. This is basically corporate saying, hey, we can't control our franchises,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And then, but the problem is when you go to the franchises, they say, well, corporate told us to do this.
Which is the runaround he was getting in the initial coverage of this situation where it was, corporate said this, and then corporate's like, no, it's up to them. And then, no, it's a corporate. So you just back and forth, just fucking wild goose chase. But here's the thing. Again, consignment may be fully against their policy, but that deal did happen. There was a contract in place. So if you're taking it over and you are not taking over the consignment and you're not taking over everything that...
Fuck is that? Fuck going on?
the business had already had contracts for, then you, I don't believe, can legally still have that inventory, right? So how can you possibly say no when the owner of it is requesting it back? And how can you then make threats against them for it and vilify them for it? It is their product, and you are outright saying you don't do these deals, thus it's not your product. You didn't obtain it through the proper channels, and you know that. It is violative, and you are knowingly still keeping it and presumably selling it to your customers. They are openly advertising it all over the place on their socials, but it's, like, even by their own defense of themselves, it's product that they shouldn't even have in the first place, and they didn't pay for it or anything. So, is that not just stolen product, point blank? I feel like it is. At least in my Neanderthal noodle here, again, I'm not a lawyer, but I just don't see a world where you can come into a business, take it over, and then say, like, all right, everything that happened before we got here no longer counts. But we are going to capitalize off some of those deals, so this product that was a big no-no in how we obtained it, we are still going to actively sell it and market it, and if he comes requesting it back, we are going to trespass him, threaten him, and fight tooth and nail to ensure he never gets those Legos back.
Serious claims require serious evidence. I do agree. We both agree with that.
Yes.
We have repeatedly asked for the original documents and undoctored recordings that support these accusations. So yeah, isn't that funny? Didn't we try to get the evidence over to you guys?
Yeah, did I remember that time when I had all the evidence in my hand and I walked into the store and I just said, hey, here's all the evidence. I'm not judging you. Let's figure this out. And what did they do?
Can we have like a clip like playing right now?
Yeah, let's roll the clip.
I'm going to play it safe here again in this video, not show any of those clips because they were recorded through like the glasses and stuff. But if you want to see it, I highly recommend going to Reckless Ben's channel to support him for this super thorough investigation. But they do have irrefutable proof that they did just take the full brass tacks evidence, no nonsense, no horse hockey, just the actual cold hard facts. They did take it to them. They did nothing with it. Also, I don't know what they mean by undoctored recordings. Like, it is just the recordings that they put in the video. Like, I don't really see where they could have, like, fudged anything. And again, they did actively try to just present all of the evidence to get it solved, because the mission was to just get him his Legos back or what he's entitled to, and they didn't want to play ball with it. Instead, at every opportunity, they tried to have them arrested, trespassing them, claiming harassment, and they did actively work to try and get the law enforcement to throw them in the handcuffs and take them to the slammer. They tried all of the proper avenues of just presenting the evidence and delivering the evidence to corporate and to the people in charge, but they refused it. They denied it. They lied. So what else are they going to do? Well, this. Making a public spectacle out of it. Putting it on everyone's radar, because this is a public service that they're doing here. Bricks and Minifigs seems to be an extremely shady corporation that no person should be dealing with. They seem to be doing some very under-the-table type shit that's very fucking odd, that it potentially was them stealing multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Legos from at least Brian, but who knows, maybe others as well that just weren't able to get enough eyes on it like Brian and Ben were able to in this case. Who's to say? So them talking about it and presenting all of this is important to consumers out there who might have considered doing business with this company, and now, thanks to this investigation, they know, let's pump the brakes, maybe we should steer clear of Bricks and Minifigs.
We were the ones that refused to give them the evidence.
It makes no sense. They literally go, we have repeatedly asked. Okay, that's bullshit. Selective social media posts and investigative style videos are not a substitute for the complete records and legal agreements that govern the rights of all involved parties.
Okay, let's put all the evidence right here. We got the consignment deal. We got the full inventory list that the Bricks and Minifigs store made that shows which sets were sold, which sets are still in the store, and which sets Brian has not been paid for. This was an inventory list made by the store. Here's the security camera footage of corporate knowing there was a consignment deal. Here's all the metadata timestamped pictures of...
Fuck am I doing, my nigga? Fuck niggas in the fucking camera shaking his titties, bro. What has society come to? What have we become as creatures? As Homo sapiens walking around this earth? Have we really evolved? Or are we really devolving every single day? Who makes the rules of whether we're evolving or devolving? Who knows? Yes, technology advances. But do we as humans advance? Huh? I'm talking to you, nigga. I'm asking you a question. Do we advance or are we going backwards?
the sets that were still in the store when the owner got kicked out. I've printed all of this proof out and tried to give it to them.
They did have the whole kit and caboodle here. This should have been something that never got to this point, never escalated to this point at all. And again, in that footage, the security cam footage, he himself calls out that, yeah, they're taking on the consignments when they take over. But again, maybe he doesn't have the authority to do so, but still, they shouldn't have this inventory then, and they should have no problem giving it back. And them in their statement saying, we've repeatedly requested you give us just the real stuff, not just some fucking bogus YouTube video. Ugh, the actual, fucking evidence here. And they have proven that they repeatedly did try to. The corporation here was never receptive to it. They never took it. They never wanted to deal with it. Instead, they were more interested in just trying to have them arrested and silenced and bullied using litigious threats. So this is just a complete fucking lie here in their statement about, like, we asked for it, but you just wanted to make a YouTube video. That's just not true. they did try.
If a legitimate claim exists, there are established legal and dispute resolution processes to handle it fairly. Attempting to force a business outcome through public pressure, especially on unrelated stores and employees, is not a productive or fair path forward.
Basically what they're saying is, let's figure this out the legal way. Well, we did what he said, actually. We did sue him, and we won. And then they didn't like the legal way. Bricks and Minifigs was the one who didn't want to do it the legal way. Do you know why?
Because when they won, and they did win, in small claims court, they did win. They took it the legal way. Also, from the very beginning, they were trying to provide the evidence to just get this solved. It was Bricks and Minifigs that didn't want to play ball. So they did eventually take it the legal way.
Play ball.
They went to small claims court. They didn't go to like the extremely expensive one like Bricks and Minifigs wanted them to, because what Bricks and Minifigs wanted to do was bleed them dry through a long, drawn-out process to just drain them of resources. So instead, they went to small claims court, and Reckless Ben, he did win against them. And how did Bricks and Minifigs respond? They shut down that location. So they didn't even pay him what they owed from the small claims court. They instead just shut down operations on that location, thus leaving him high and dry, as well as Brian and the Legos. So yeah, I don't know, Bricks and Minifigs. It sounds like it really wasn't the legal way that you were wanting, was it? So that wasn't much of an option. Public pressure was the only productive way to get any kind of attempt to try and help Brian here get his Legos back. But still, that hasn't happened. So instead, what's happening is people are being alerted to the very awful business practices of this company. Like, again, the lack of professionalism as well from the people in charge is fucking alarming. The way that Josh, one of the owners there, of that location, just keep calling this guy stupid, cussing at him, swearing at him, fuck you, man, that kind of stuff. Everyone's seeing it now. So Bricks and Minifigs looks like a terrible fucking business. And they have still not given Brian's Legos back, even though they did go through the legal way.
Doing whatever they can to silence criticism, and if you don't believe me, watch part 2.
Moving forward together, our position remains simple. Bricks and Minifigs Corporate was not a party to the unauthorized Salem Consignment Agreement.
Wait. But they were a party in the theft of the Legos.
Any legitimate claims should be resolved through the proper legal channels where facts can be evaluated fairly. And we already did that.
Yep.
So,
Facts.
Bricks and Minifigs keeps trying to alt by saying the facts, that kind of thing, but the facts betray them. Even their own defense isn't watertight because they keep bringing up that they don't take on the consignment, which, again, it's on video of the guy saying, yeah, we take it on, but if that's just, if that's horseradish, fine, you don't take on consignment, but then you knowingly have inventory that was taken through this consignment and you are not giving it back even though the owner of it is requesting it. Thus, you are taking this inventory that you don't have a right to and selling it and not paying for it. That sounds like it's stolen. That's an immutable fact. That is not like a doctored piece of video or anything like that. That is a provable fact that there was a consignment and he gave the inventory to the store. They had it. They were actively marketing it, so they definitely had the product. They were selling the product, it seems, based on all evidence. And now, according to Bricks and Minifig, they don't do consignment. Thus, why the fuck aren't they giving him his Legos back? What sense does that make? These are the facts.
we ask our fans and creators to consider the human impact of the content they share. Fairness is a two-way street. It requires looking at the full picture and respecting the rights of unrelated small business owners and their staff. I mean, shouldn't they care about people below them?
This doesn't say how they're moving forward. Moving forward should be, let's give Brian his Legos back.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought this nigga was really like in a room. I really thought they was in a room. Hold on. What the fuck? This shit got me. I ain't gonna hold you. Am I a bot? I might be an NPC, my nigga. Because I really thought this was a fucking... You know what I mean? Word.
Or it should be, let's give Brian his Legos back, right?
That should have been the first sentence. That's absolutely right. Instead, this is more just like a sad song. Guys, come on, we ordered some french fries. Why is no one shedding any tears for us? Think about the human impact. There's humans here. And by the way, in the video, we heard from some of those humans. They're really rancid. They're really rude, mean people that Ben was interacting with. Off rip, too, by the way. Like, it's not like they were goaded into it. when Ben was just asking very simple questions at the beginning, they were instantly snapping and saying that that he's harassing them. I don't know, not really great people there at the top of the food chain at Bricks and Minifigs that I've seen. And also, considering the human impact, what about Brian's father? You have his fucking Legos. His life's work. He built that up over the course of so many years of his life, growing it into what it became, worth multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. His pride and joy. And it was money that the family could have really utilized in his time of bad health. So what about the human impact there, Bricks and Minifigs? What the fuck? Like, you are the last place that should be trying to appeal to, like, humanity, please. When you have his Legos and are still refusing to give them back or pay for what you've sold from his collection. It's ridiculous. And in their response, they don't explain why they're keeping the Legos. They don't address that at all. So you don't do consignment. Why are you keeping the Legos? Why are you selling those Legos? And why are you not giving them back to the owner? If you don't do consignment, you shouldn't have them. Explain your side. You didn't. Instead, they just keep relying on like this nothingness. Like they're not even defending themselves is the thing. Because what they're doing is indefensible. So their response was fucking terrible. Anyway, I just had to do a follow-up once I saw that they responded. Anyway, that's really about it. See ya.
Yeah. I'm gonna lie.
Like it just felt so fucking like cold.
Fuck them niggas. You're gonna get what's coming to them. That burger I just ate is so fucking disgusting. I'm about to throw up. Oh fuck. Oh shit. No, come on. Okay. Yep. Burger's finished. Video finished. Yo. Bricks and Minifigs. Y'all niggas are fucking. Y'all gonna get what's coming to you. Alright. Now that I'm involved. Shit ain't gonna be the same, my nigga.